Back on the show now is UFC Heavyweight Jared Vanderaa, who fights next this Saturday at UFC Vegas 58 when he meets Chase Sherman. Jared, how you doing?
Doing all right. A little tired from the trip in, but for the most part, doing all right.
All right, it is fight week, so I'm assuming you're at the hotel in Vegas as we speak.
Yes, I just got it maybe like 20 minutes ago. I was here at I decided to get here early for once. I was like, yeah, I'll be here early. I'll be a productive member of society, get shit done. And then I get here, they're like, okay, your room's not ready. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go upstairs, do all the UFC stuff, check in with them. They're like, hey, you're good with us. And it took about an hour or so. I was assuming by that time the room would be ready. Nope. And then realizing like shit, I'm already running late. I still had all my gear, all my stuff. So I ran all the way to the PI because I had an appointment at 3, got all that done and over with. And then I had a call at like 3:30 saying that my room was ready. I was like, oh joy. So hurried on back, got my stuff, and now we're here.
How are the accommodations? I got to imagine they're treating you pretty nice.
Yeah, it's we're in the Red Rock today. It's pretty nice, a little roomy. I just cranked down the AC to like -2, so we're golden.
Yeah, it's hot in Vegas this time of year, no doubt about it. So what is the
It's actually colder here than it is in Hemet right now. Hemet's fucking been like 100 and close to like 110 all week. Get here, it's like 100. I'm like, ooh, these 10 degrees. It's nice out.
out there on the West Coast, man? It stays nice and hot for you guys. I'm back northeast. It's not quite as nice as where you guys are at, but I just want to ask, what the plan is for the rest of this week. Obviously, the fight is Saturday. What do you have to do for this week? I'm sure you have plenty of media obligations and whatnot to take care of.
Actually, most of my media obligations are either I have one more appointment scheduled after you, and then I'm actually free all tomorrow. Like I have nothing. The UFC doesn't want me around. They don't care for me for tomorrow. But Thursday, that's my busy day. So I might actually head back home. Actually go home, see the family, and then either come up Thursday night or come up Wednesday night or come Thursday morning.
What
For
what is
me, 3 hours. It's a 3 hour drive. It's not
okay?
that big of a deal.
That's what I was just going to ask. So it's a 3 hour drive. That's easy. No problems there. Now, as far as camp goes, man, how has this been for you? How healthy is your body feeling as you lead into this fight with Chase Sherman?
Because you know how I do long camps of like a whopping 2.5 weeks, this week included. Luckily I've actually been training pretty consistently. I for some reason I get these weird premonitions on like certain weeks that I should be prepared for. And sure enough, I was prepared for everything coming up. Like for some reason I was prepared for Alan Badeau or Josh Parisian to fall out. With that in mind, I kept on actually training with the intent of fighting one of those two guys. And then that week of that fight, that's when I got offered the fight with Chase for this week. I was like, all right, a week and a half, we're good. Like I got a week and a half of training, um, and yeah, and then now we're here.
I see. Obviously, I follow you on social media, and I saw you got Smiling Sam in your corner as always. He's going to fight with Michael Olajaychuk in August. How has he been looking when you're around him, and what is your early prediction for that matchup?
So Sam lives in Tennessee, and the first time I actually saw him was last week, and our sparring round got cut short because I had a little boo boo over my eye. So I was like, I'm not risking it because fight. I have a fight in 2 weeks. So I was like, I had a little boo boo over the eye, so I wasn't trying to be too crazy, have that become actually a true issue to worry about. So I haven't got a chance to really see what Sam's about. Hopefully after this fight, I could have quick, healthy recovery so I could do a quick turnaround and get back to it.
And as you just said, I mean, this really was a short notice fight, but you're in camp all the time anyways. So you're sharpening your skill set and you're staying ready. Have you added any new wrinkles to this particular camp, like in the last couple of weeks or even longer than that? Anybody new been around to help you get some working with?
Not really, but I've been trying to do new things. And I'm hoping I don't get caught in the, oh, this is how I've always done things trap. I want to actually do what I've been actually practicing, the things that I've actually been enjoying, the things that I've actually been showing to be really deadly. And one of the biggest issues is sometimes I take what I've been training and doing as a form of cockiness, even though it's not necessarily meant to be cocky. It's just meant like I like sometimes how I train, I shift my style slightly, pretty different. And a lot of people like, you can't do that style. That style doesn't work for this. Da da da. But like when I switch my like a certain switch in my stance, I find it switching from more of a traditional style more to a laid back style. But with that style, I find that I'm a lot quicker, a lot sharper than I normally am with other things. So I'm hoping that I'm able to bring that even a quick glimpse. I just don't want to be my same stiff self in a sense. I want to be able to be as loose as I've been training and really show that in this upcoming fight. And that's my biggest fear, is not letting loose and allowing myself not to come through with that mindset.
Do you feel like staying loose is important to get this win against Chase Sherman?
I definitely think it would definitely help due to the fact that I would assume that he's quicker than me. He's always been like what 240, 250, so I'm always going to assume that he's going to be a bit quicker than me. So if I could be loose and quick myself, I think that would be ideal for going into this fight. And looser I become, easier it might be able to beat him.
Okay. And Chase has 4 losses in a row. He's 15-10. If you go in and you beat him here, this might be the last fight that he has in the UFC. They might cut ties with him. Do you feel pressure to go in there and get this win and maybe win impressively against him?
Well, I want to win more for myself than for him. I could give two fucks about his contract. It's my contract that I'm worried about. I got 2 more fights left on it, and I want to make sure that I'm giving myself the opportunity to continue my contract. So I feel like there's more pressure on my end because I have 3 losses, and granted, two of the was it yeah 2 of the 3 that I have recently are all way of a short notice fight, and for most people would consider short notice. I technically, when they offered me Orlowski, they asked me if I wanted to fight him the 15th of January, and I was asked the 13th of January if I wanted to fight him. I said yes. They were able to push that to UFC 271. Then they hit me up to fight Olenek last minute, and I was winning until I wasn't. And then this whole thing with Chase, I think it kind of helped because I did call him out 3 or 4 weeks prior to, maybe like a week or 2 prior to the actual fight, just to try, get a fight. And sure enough, they offered me 1, 2.5 weeks, so I accepted. And short notice fights have kind of become my thing, and I don't want like a or was it
Like a
a
repeat?
repeat? Yes.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that you'd prefer this to be your last short notice fight for a little while? Maybe get a full camp in next time?
No, no, I'm fine with the short notice ones. I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right to make sure I'm not having those issues. I've been training hard so I'm not repeating the same mistakes I have done before.
I want to talk about your fight with Alexei Oleinik. Obviously, that happened in April. And like you just said, Jared, you were winning until you weren't. I'm sure you've watched the tape back by now. Do you kick yourself for anything that you did in there? Because it seemed like maybe you had what it took to get a win, and maybe you fought his game instead of fighting your own.
Well, okay, so it was kind of one of those weird things where like I wasn't in a good position, and I was like, okay, if I kind of hold this, I could hold it. But at the same time, I was like, I need to find like you can't like if I was in mount, I could just stand up. And I wasn't able to establish mount for more than like 3 or 4 seconds. Land, I landed a few shots, but I wasn't able to like, I didn't feel secure enough to like be like, okay, I could stand up and get away. And then I had his back. I'm like, fuck. Like, I could, I'm like, I can maybe choke him. I can maybe do something. But now I can't get up and do anything. So, like, I felt like there was a good portion of the grappling. I was winning. And then then he put himself in a triangle and pissed me off because I fucking hate triangles. I hate doing them. I have short, stubby ass legs. So I was like, fuck. And then he used that to get out. Then he passed my guard to or he passed my guard. He took my back, defended the choke, and then we went to his scarf hold. And we did practice that week how to prevent that scarf hold. But no matter how much I practiced that, even now, I think I wouldn't have been able to get out of it because the people that have done it to me cannot get the level of strength that Oleinik was able to muster up during that.
Was that just a different level of jujitsu on the ground with him? Like, have you ever felt that before?
Yes and no. I wouldn't say like he didn't do anything completely out of left field, but he had old man strength would be the best way to put it. But you know, when you have someone that does something for 20, 30 years, there's certain grips that come, like there's certain strengths that come with it. The one person that I could equate his strength to is actually Dan. Uh, him and Hendo just have that stupid old man, stiff old man grip that they grab you and they're like, I'm letting go, not you, me, type of grip. And so when he grabbed me, I was like, fuck, this dude has some grip. And like I tried to fight out of it, and then I literally was like, oh shit, this is tight. Like, oh fuck, I can't breathe. Like, hey, the lights are I'm done. Like, that was just a shitty fucking position altogether.
You guys
So
talked after the fight backstage, and there's a really cool video of him kind of showing you how he got the submission. Was that pretty cool for you? Just as you know, you're the younger guy talking to this guy that's been around the game forever. I mean, that must have been a pretty cool experience to just kind of pick his brain.
yeah, so when he hit me with the scarf hold and realizing how tight it was, I was like, okay, now I am truly curious on how tight is this Ezekiel. Was it? I was a little less worried about the Ezekiel choke due to the fact that I'm pretty good at defending gi chokes in general, and I understood how to defend, and I knew well enough how to defend his no gi Ezekiel far better than the scarf hold. And I just like at this point, I'm like, I'm curious on how it felt. And he put it on my coach and then myself. I was like, oh shit, this is real. So it was one of those moments where I appreciated that I didn't get caught with that fucking choke. But two, it was nice to kind of learn, what made that dude famous for that choke. So I mean, if I get the opportunity, I would like to try it in a fight, but it's not going to be. I'm not going to hold on to it like Oleinik does. I think he's got that shit down pat.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How do you feel like you've grown? Like, what have you learned from that loss to Oleinik that's helped you evolve a little bit as a mixed martial artist?
Okay, so one of the biggest things is like going into that match. I was always like, so I roll with a bunch of high level dudes. but I tend to usually be the biggest. And if I'm not the biggest, I'm either the more experienced or the biggest. So I'm one of the two. And the problem is I don't let them correlate with each other. If I'm the biggest, I try to use my skill. And if I'm like with people that are like just as skilled as me, I continue just to use my skill. I don't necessarily try to use my size and strength. And then like a week after I roll in with the fight with Olenek, I was rolling with Silvio. He's a third degree black belt, but he's about maybe 115 pounds. And when we roll, it'd be smooth, quick, fun, but it wouldn't be bad. Like I wouldn't put a bunch of pressure on him. I would actually try to be technical. I would try to keep up with his speed versus the other way around. And he goes, "Why don't you use your strength?" He goes, "Everyone else in here is your size, either just as good or at least just as strong as you. Why don't you use both?" He goes, and growing up, every gym I've been at, I've been told to hold back my strength. Don't use my strength. Don't utilize my size. And after talking to him about it, I'm just like, he's kind of right. A lot of the guys here are a fifth place EDC trial a participant. Another one's like a third or fourth place trial participant. I'm like, okay, I'm actually hanging with these guys technically. I'm like, how about, or I've even submitted one multiple times. I'm like, how about I actually use my strength and see how far I could, how well I do against them. And ever since I've actually just continued using my strength, I've actually found that I've done a lot better against some of these guys. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm hoping that might have been one of the bigger factors I was missing into this fight or in my previous fights.
Man, I'm looking forward to seeing the new and improved version of Jared Vanderaa for this with this Chase Sherman fight. Before we do dive into that one, Jared, I wanted to get your recap on your big thoughts about UFC 276. Obviously, International Fight Week. You weren't there, right? I saw like on your Instagram
Nope.
you were at an anime convention.
Yes, I was at Anime Expo. To me, far more important. uh, like this is actually one of the shirts from it. But no, I watched the fights. I was actually kind of not like I didn't really care to watch them. I don't know. It just to me because I believed it was like the card had a bunch of big names, and I did respect that. But sometimes when they put a lot of big names, doesn't always mean big amazing fights.
Mhm.
And I kind of felt like that was true. Like I like the Bam Bam and Robbie Lawler fight. That was a fun slugfest. And then of course, I watched the Strickland versus Alex Ferreira fight. Um, Damn, I feel like Alex has just some. He he is the what was it middleweight Francis Ngannou. That's the
Okay.
best way I could like. That's the only way to equate it. Like that's what he reminds me of. Definitely more technical, but that power just comes out of nowhere. Um, like the rest of the fights, I mean, they're a lot of them were forgettable. Not to be a jackass to the fighters, but and it's just one of those things where I was maybe because I was more focused on what was coming up for me
Mhm.
than for the fights that I didn't care that much for them.
Well, let me ask you this. You just compared Alex Pereira to the middleweight version of Francis Ngannou. It looks like Pereira and Izzy is going to be the next matchup for the 185 title. How do you see that going?
That one I don't know. That one I'm hoping. I would like to actually see those two hit the ground. Like, but we know both strikers. The likelihood of them wrestling is slim to none. Like, I know they're saying they're going to wrestle, but you and I both know that's a fucking lie. And they're going to just kickbox for 5 rounds, or if Alex repeats the past or something. So,
Who do you think wins that? What's your way too early prediction here?
way too early prediction. You know what? I'm going based on who I actually follow on Instagram, and I follow Alex. I actually do not follow Izzy.
Okay.
Surprisingly, nothing against them. So going based off who I follow, and Alex is the one I follow.
All right. So you're predicting an and new, which should be very, very interesting. That'll be fun whenever it does happen. All right, let's dive into your fight this Saturday, Jared. UFC Vegas 58, July the 9th. It's headlined by RDA and Rafael Fiziev. Give me your prediction for that one real quick. Who do you see winning that main event fight?
I have no clue.
No clue.
I like. I want to say RDA because he's maybe the most well-known person on the card, but I don't know. The other dude's what, Dagestanian, Russian, something like that, right? So naturally, I want to lean to him a little bit more. But RDA is just a tough old man.
Yeah, he's
That one's a hard one. I like, because I don't know anything about the Russian, so I don't want to be like, yeah, he's gonna win. Because I'm like, I know what RDA brings to the table, and he brings a full arsenal. And I think he's very good, and I think he's used to these high pressured situations. So I kind of want to lean towards him.
I'm not mad at that. It's a hell of a main event, no doubt. Well, let's talk about Chase Sherman. Obviously, this is a guy that's been around for a while. As I said earlier, 15-10. Break this one down for me, Jared. What are you expecting his game plan to be against yourself? How do you see this fight going?
Uh, like I said, kind of with the Alex and Izzy fight, like I just see this kind of more of a stand and bang kind of situation. Um, Instead of just me standing and banging with him, I want to be able to cut the angles, pepper him, and kind of not like edge out a decision, but I want to just be able to beat him on all fronts, be able to beat him, if we have to go that long run. But I would also like to just be able to just unload when I need to, you know, hoping for an early stoppage. Uh, Early in the rounds, just like hitting him clean, dropping him, that'd be great too. Um, I mean, I would be surprised if he tried to wrestle me. Um, I think I'm a bit more experienced on the ground than he is. Um, and so that's why I just don't see him really trying to shoot. And I don't think he's ever shot in his UFC career. So who knows?
Do you feel like you're going to hold a significant advantage in the power aspect of this fight? If this does play out on the feet, is your power going to be a big difference?
I don't think so. I don't think like I never considered myself a power puncher or power striker, so I don't really consider that a factor. I've always kind of equated myself to more of a speed guy, even though I'm a bigger heavyweight. I always feel like I'm a little quicker than most of the guys.
Okay, so when you look at this fight, you talked earlier about this potentially maybe going to a decision. Is that what you think? Do you think this is going to go all 3 rounds, or do you feel like you can get him out of there before that?
I've like, with my luck lately, I haven't been getting people out as fast as I want. So mentally, I'm just like, okay, well, what I've been doing has been going decision. Like the Orlovsky fight, the Tafa fight, I'm like, okay, I've gone to decision twice. I'm like, this time, I'm like, I would like to get done first round. Um, but Chase looks like a dude that just takes punches. Like his fight with Orlovsky, his fight with Parker Porter, like the dude could take a beating. So with that being said, with a guy that could take a punch doesn't mean I won't try to finish him in the first and second and third, but it means the likelihood of it being drawn to the third round and to decision go up exponentially.
You are a small favorite here. It's kind of a close as far as betting odds go. I don't know if you're a betting man, but I know the MMA fans out there, the betting industry is just booming right now. So tell me what you feel like your official prediction will be here. Is this going to go the distance, or are you getting a finish?
I honestly, mentally, I feel like I have a finish coming in either the first or the second round. But I'm mentally prepared for going all 3 rounds. So I'm gonna go finish by second.
Okay, man. I love it. Jared, it's always great talking to you, my man. Easily one of the nicest guys in the UFC, and you are a hell of a fighter to boot. Again, Jared Vanderaa, Chase Sherman goes down this Saturday, UFC Vegas 58. Before I do let you go, man, I want to give you the floor. Please tell people where they can follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
You could follow me on all the major platforms, Jared Vanderaa on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, like I said, all the social medias. Um, thank you again for having me last minute. But yeah, and thanks for everyone watching and listening.